Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of FinServ Tech Oracles. I'm your Oracle, Johna Johnson, here with my colleague and fellow Oracle, Jerry Murphy, and we're ready to share our thoughts on technology for financial services firms. And today, Jerry really wanted to talk about ChatGPT and its use in financial services firms. So, Jerry, what are your thoughts there?
ChatGPT is an excellent tool that should always be used for everything.
Jerry, what happened to you? Did the bots get
Oh,
you?
the bots got me. Yeah. So I actually think it's interesting. I mean, it's a two-edged sword, and I think there's a lot of potential there, but we got to treat it with a lot of caveats. The scary part is if you actually look at our recent study on the adoption of AI, I was a little bit surprised to find out that if you look at all industries, 52% of industries are using AI, things like ChatGPT. In finance services, it's 85.7%. So I was a little surprised that they're really doing a much bigger adoption. And the scary part there for me is it sort of is tantalizing to use it in terms of some of the visceral responses it can give you. But I think if you're not really, really careful about using it, it can get you into a heap full of trouble.
Well, and why do you say that is, Jerry?
Well, I think the main reason is if you look at the problems, things like ChatGPT, large language models, the thing that's different than other AIs, that machine learning that's there, is actually generate things from scratch. The problem with that is, the database with which these systems are using data. First off, they're not timely, right? If you're using ChatGPT 3, it's the data's cut off. It's current as of January 21. If you think, oh, I'm going to pay for ChatGPT 4 Plus, well, the cutoff there is January 22. So you're not actually using current data. There's no real world understanding. And the thing is, it might create great data, it might create garbage, and you don't know. So if you really have to do fact checks. So the thing is, if you know what you're talking about, it can be a great framework to assist you putting together some thoughts and ideas. If you are not an expert and you're relying on it to provide you expertise, you're in for a rude awakening because it could be just completely making stuff up, and that's really
Which
scary for
y
financial services.
well, that's yes, very scary, and you say if you're using it for, but I think our same study actually shows that, financial services firms are significantly more likely to be using AI for customer-facing uses, 51.7% as compared to 19%, so that's a huge uptick. So, essentially, now you've got kind of the perfect storm. They're using ChatGPT, they're more likely to be using ChatGPT, and they're more likely to be using AI for customer-facing applications and use cases. Why do you think that's a problem?
Well, that's a problem because now it's not me getting the information as a financial service person and interpreting it. It's my clients are getting information from this, and I am not supervising what information this thing is providing.
Well,
So
in fairness, you may be supervising it, and I think that gets to the other point that you wanted to make. Because I know when we work with the folks at the Wall Street Technology Association, I know we've talked to folks that are very explicitly using AI as advisor enhancers. So essentially, the idea there, the model is the AI feeds the advisor with information that may be valuable and useful as they're serving a client, say Jerry or Johna, but there's always a curator, a mediator who should be a subject matter expert handling that and looking at that.
And I think that is the key distinction. And that is, if there's one takeaway from this whole little talk this morning, that's it, right? There's a lot of potential there, but you cannot trust these things to go unaided in front of, certainly in front of your clients. And really, you don't want to be doing it at all for anything. But when it comes to customer service, you have to have a curator, somebody who's looking at the results, interpreting them, and then implying context to the information, because it's a human being that's going to take that stuff and give the oversight such that you're still interacting with your end user client. I know in my service where I was really doing a lot in my previous company with small banks, customer service is everything. and it's very important to maintain that human touch and human connection. So using these things to assist you in finding information maybe is a good thing, but you really don't want them to replace your human interaction for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, and as a customer, I certainly don't wanna be talking to a chatbot, even if it were 100% reliable. I just have no interest,
Well,
right?
we actually found that in a study too, right? We found in another study that we did, there's sort of this bifurcation in chatbots. It's like people think if you're using a chatbot for something that's utterly routine, people don't
Yes.
necessarily mind chatbots. But if you need help, people
Right.
hate chatbots.
Right, I don't wanna have to explain myself to a robot,
Yeah.
as you kicked off this whole discussion with. So, basically, I think it sounds like your takeaway is that it's ChatGPT is a double-edged sword. It can be huge assist if it's properly curated, but it can also create a lot of damage and damage that all-important customer relationship if it's not. So, given that we're reaching out to financial services tech folks, what would your suggestion be for a tech person at a financial services firm to, what should they do with this
Well,
information we've just given them?
I certainly recommend these things absolutely are worth looking at and using because they can give you some ideas that you may not have had. So I wouldn't say don't use them, but I would say supplement the information you get from these with other sources.
Right, but that's for the advisor. I'm just saying, if you're a tech person, you've said previously, for example, that what you want to do is build out a new career path where you're looking at being that gateway, teaching the advisor how to use
Well,
ChatGPT
I think
effectively and how to curate.
so. One is you need to actually understand how these tools work so you can be very familiar with them because they are not going away.
Right.
Second, you can be the person that not only uses them, but helps provide the feedback loop. One of the things with any kind of artificial intelligence is the more human feedback you can give to them, the better information they have. So if you can be somebody who understands not only how to use them, but how to train them, that can be a very valuable thing. And I think the difference between a crappy tool like this and a good one is somebody who can add to the feedback loop relevant information to make it quote more human. So somebody who has the ability to know how to massage and train these things, I think is going to be at a huge advantage career wise.
So basically, you're saying that tech professionals should consider a train the trainer role where you're training the client services person to train the chat GPT.
And even training them how to use it themselves to be a better client services rep. Let me show you the best way to use this tool to your advantage as opposed to detriment.
So if you're watching this or listening to this, there you have a possible career path to explore. And that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. You can register for the entire series online, so please go and do that. And please turn in next week at 0900 for FinServ Tech Oracles at just before the market opens on Tuesday next week.
Please
So see
come
you
back.
then.
Please
See
come back. Please come back.
Jerry doing his chat GPT imitation. All right. Take
See
care,
you
all.
later.